Hey guys, welcome back to Scale and Sell. This is week 4 of the Scale and Sell coaching program. Now we're going to be turning our eye in week 4 to the future. So we've done a lot of foundation work to date, and we're going to continue with that foundation work that's going to continue to improve our business. It's going to improve the performance of our business. It's going to make it more scalable, more resilient, less reliant on you and other dependencies, and a whole range of stuff that's going to create a whole lot of value in the business. But what we're doing now is sort of turning our eye to the future and making our business irresistible, creating excitement, getting people excited about your business, about where it's going and about what the future looks like in the driver's seat. And it starts here with creating a really compelling narrative for your business. So here's what we're going to cover in this lesson. First of all, we're going to take a look at how important it really is for you to craft a compelling narrative for your business. We're going to dive into some of the perfect answers to the really big questions, the kind of questions on which success and failure hinge. And finally, how to articulate to a prospective buyer or a prospective investor where the opportunities lie, the tantalizing opportunities in your business. Okay, so let's dive right in. How important is it to craft a compelling narrative for your business? Well, I'm going to say pretty damn important. You could say vital even. If you have any ambition to pull off what could be a life-changing deal and see possibly your biggest ever payday, then you're going to need to craft a beautiful, compelling narrative surrounding the achievements of the performance to date and, most importantly, where the business is going. If you can get this right, it's going to allow you to attract the right type of buyers and the right type of investors. And if we're talking about a strategic buy, then it's hugely important, probably less so for a financial buyer. We're going to dive a little deeper on types of buyers when we get into module 8, building a buyer list. But to quickly differentiate between these two main types of buyers, here it is. A strategic buyer sees your business fitting into their business and adding another element to it. It could be a competitor wanting to take out the competition in their own space, or it could be a buyer that feels you have something that they can't offer and that they would love to offer to their clients. It could also be a buyer that wants to expand into a new destination or a new market. Irrespective of the nature of the strategic buyer, what they're also going to be looking really closely at is their ability to draw a big line through a chunk of your expenses. So no matter the motivation of the strategic buyer, they want to know how they can make your business more profitable. Are they going to save on office space? They're probably going to want to bring your books over to their bookkeeper. You may have 2 admin people on the payroll that they won't need, as they're potentially going to be able to increase the workload of their own admin people and make a saving there. So bottom line, they don't have to absorb all your expenses. That makes the business more profitable for them, and for those reasons, they'll generally pay more for it. A financial buyer, on the other hand, is not going to manage your business, and they're not going to absorb your expenses. A financial buyer is simply looking at the numbers. They're doing the math and they're calculating their return. They're going to want to get their money back in, let's say, 2 years or 3 years. 3 years is a practical period of time. And then they anticipate that they're going to start making money year on year. You definitely want to get a strategic buyer excited about what life will look like in the driver's seat of your business. So how do you do that? Well, the first thing you need to do is take a really close look at your recent business performance and pick out some of the juiciest highlights. You want to pull out the best stuff. Nothing unethical, no smoke and mirrors here, just the facts that present your business in the best possible light. So you need to kind of slice and dice the numbers a little bit here, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Take a look here at some examples that I used in my marketing collateral when we took my business to market. 2016 financial year revenue of $1,840,000, with 2017 financial year tracking up 32% to $2.4 million. First quarter 2017 financial year over year revenue growth of 50%, departures up 59%. Year over year confirmed bookings as of September 30th up 44%. So these numbers that I used in these examples were all factual. Confirmed bookings as of September 30 were up by 44%. Year-over-year revenue growth was up 50%. We were tracking at 2.4 million in revenue for the 2017 financial year at an increase of 32%. These are all facts, but these were very, very carefully selected facts to present my business in the best possible light. By this, I mean, I was selective about the date ranges that I used. I knew that I just confirmed a huge incentive group on September the 26th and had their deposit payment made. Now, year on year, confirmed bookings as of August 30th would only have been up around 20%. We'd had a really slow first quarter of 2016, so I knew that the comparison between first quarter 16 and first quarter 17 was going to be really, really impressive. If I'd taken a second quarter comparison, it would have been far less impressive. Take another example here. We were in fact tracking at 32%, but I'd simply multiplied out first quarter revenue by 4, which was a logical and ethical way to project annual revenue. However, I also knew we'd had a massive second quarter. So we extrapolated out those second quarter revenue results to get an annual revenue projection. So what I was doing was using my data to present the business in the best possible light. Here are some other things I said about my business. A well-established position in the Melbourne tourism industry, a diverse and long-term repeat customer base. Diverse is great. Nobody wants to see all your eggs in one or two baskets. We're going to get to that in a later module. And an interested party loves to see a long-term repeat customer base. Lastly, a business that is largely operated under management is very, very appealing. And again, we're going to dive deep on this. Okay, so finally, we've talked about these key features, this really impressive performance. The numbers look great. It's trending up. You've really got some interested parties leaning in and saying, tell me more. One final tip here. Don't try to hide any potential skeletons in the closet. Once you've attracted interest, you have interested parties that want to learn more. If there's any aspect of your business that's not ideal, my recommendation is tackle it head on and explain it away up front. I'm sure there's a really good reason for it and there's a really good solution for it. Because when you get deeper into this process, when you get into, potentially as far as due diligence, eventually somebody's going to ask. And if they feel that you've kept something from them, it's going to reflect poorly. The general rule is if that happens once, then a prospective buyer and investor, they'll accept it. Oh, okay, right, forgot to tell me, overlooked. But if it happens again, they're going to ask themselves the question, what else are they holding back? What else are they hiding? And that's inevitably going to result in someone walking away. So somebody's response to something that's not ideal is going to be far more dramatic if they think you've been holding out on them. If you can be upfront, tell someone what it is, tell someone why it happened, or what they need to do to solve it, you'll generally find that they'll accept that. All right, moving right along. So you've spent a chunk of time attracting interest, crafting this beautiful, compelling narrative about what's led your business to the place it is right now. You've got people excited. And here's the question you're going to get at this point. Well, if it's so great, why are you selling it? Now, for me, this was the first great challenge that I faced because my circumstance was not normal. I had a really great business. It was making great money. It was under management. I was living the kind of life that I really wanted to be living. Making great money, traveling a lot, realizing so many dreams that I'd had for so many years. And it was not conventional that someone in my position would want to sell their business. I wasn't 65 or 70. I didn't have a business that was about to fall off a cliff. I didn't have, family problems. All of these common reasons that people want to sell a business. I wasn't getting chewed up by the daily grind. In truth, I was just getting a little bit bored. I just had this strong feeling inside me that life was too short. There were so many things that I wanted to do with my life that I'm doing right now as we speak. And I just wanted something new. I wanted something different. And the business was at a point where I felt it had a lot of value. We'd had a couple of really strong years, and I knew I'd worked so hard to build it up, and I just didn't know what the future held. It just seemed to me that the time was right. I just had a feeling in my gut, and I tend to trust my gut a lot. And ironically, look where we are today. It's proved to be a pretty wise decision right at this point. But anyway, I needed to come up with a really plausible reason with a lot of truth to it as to why my wife and I wanted to sell this thriving tour business. So here's some of the things that we said in our marketing collateral. The vendors are Josh Oakes and Susan Healy, both of whom founded MPT Travel and Lifestyle Group to realize their vision of. They've devoted the last 10 years to building MPT and diversifying it across. So that really says that we're passionate about it. We've put a lot of our blood, sweat and tears into this business. We've diversified it and we've taken it to a point. We talked about how confident that we were in the future of Australian tourism, both inbound and domestic, and about the opportunities for growth that we've identified. And lastly, most importantly, we outlined that we reluctantly concluded that shepherding our business to its next phase as it continues to grow at its current pace, so something really, really positive, really exciting, will require the time, the skills, the energy, and the devotion that we feel is incompatible with our strong desire to spend considerable time overseas and raise our young family there. Now, we got to a point where we were spending 6 months of every year, somewhere between 4 and 6 months of every year in Ibiza in Spain. It's a place that we feel is a second home. For the last 5 years of ownership of MPT, we'd spent 4 to 6 months every year overseas in Ibiza. And we didn't know whether we wanted to live there long term. It's turned out that we're spending probably less time there now, but it was a really plausible reason, and it makes perfect sense to an interested party that although the business was under management, although my role in the day-to-day operations had diminished dramatically, and I was at a point where I was managing a few good relationships. I was meeting on a weekly basis with my general manager, my operations manager, and playing a kind of a support role there. It made perfect sense that it would have been very challenging to make a permanent move to Spain and to continue to run the business. So people accepted that. It was a really plausible, really good reason for wanting to sell our business. If I'd said, and my wife's real estate business has exploded in the last 12 months and we want to team up and give it our 100% focus moving forward, create a bit of a family dynasty, work together, realize a dream that maybe it was my wife's turn for her to do what she was really passionate about. That also would have been a really good reason for selling a business, a really plausible reason. Something like this, after 10 years, I feel it's time to do something else. Not so good a reason. What shines through here is, a lack of passion for the business, a little bit of burnout, boredom, and those are not the kind of things that an interested party wants to hear or wants to see from the owner of a business. I've had enough of the service industry and want to explore other opportunities. Again, that screams to me it's been a grind, it's been a strain, it's been a stress. I can't take it anymore, and now it's time to go and do something less laborious, less stressful, and something I'm going to enjoy more. And that's also not the kind of reason for selling a business that an interested party wants to see. So really put some deep thought into the way you're going to articulate your reason for selling your business, because so much hinges on it. Okay, so we've talked about how great your business is, and we've talked about why you're selling your business. Well, the third element to crafting a compelling narrative is this: what is the future going to hold? People want to invest in a business that's got unfulfilled potential. So what's yours got? This is your chance to get people all fired up about your business, because if you can get people fired up about your business, get people emotionally invested, it's going to be a massive help to you down the track. What do I mean by this? Well, By way of example, as you saw earlier, when we took our business to market, for the 2017 financial year, we had it tracking up 32%, a 32% increase in revenue from the previous 2016 financial year. We had it tracking at around $2.4 million in revenue. Well, the reality is this wasn't 100% accurate. What we'd done was simply multiply our first half year revenue by 2. Now, there's nothing sneaky here, and it's a logical assumption that could be made, but I knew that January, February, and March are massive months. They were massive months for us, and I always thought that we were going to struggle to meet this projected revenue target of 2.4 million. Just to repeat again, what we'd done 1.2 million in revenue in the first 6 months of the year. We simply doubled that to come up with our projected revenue target of 2.4 million. Now, as it turned out, 2.4 million in annual revenue for that financial year was going to be a stretch. By the end of April, that projection was looking more like around 2.2 to 2.3 million. So by this point, we had already received 3 offers, we'd accepted an offer, and we were at the point of due diligence. Now, we were upfront about this revised revenue projection, although we did say that forward bookings for June were very, very strong, and that 2.4 million in revenue wasn't out of the question. However, we had to be honest, and it was going to be a stretch. The reason we had to be honest was because they're eventually going to ask anyway. So as I mentioned earlier, it's better to get on the front foot. But guess what? By this point, we had got our buyers so fired up about our business that they literally didn't bat an eyelid. They were so emotionally invested based on the tantalizing picture that we had presented to them about the future of MPT, that they didn't bat an eyelid. They didn't reduce their offer, which they were entitled to do, and they didn't waver one bit. We had them so excited by life behind the steering wheel of MPT that to them, it didn't matter. They paid little attention. So when we're talking about opportunities, when you're painting a picture as to what the future holds for a new owner of your business or for an investor, you need to ask yourself, where are the improvements going to come from over the next 12 to 24 months? What have you been working on in recent times from which you expect to see some really amazing results? So here are some of the things that we'd said about our business. MPT has invested heavily in marketing efforts to further penetrate the US and Latin American markets. The owner has been investing significant time and focus in further improving its corporate event offering, which we anticipate will boost sales by X amount. Considerable time and effort in further improving its infrastructure, including improvements in collateral material, systems, and processes. The vendors have been developing new and interesting travel experiences and tours. So they were some of the key areas that we hit home on with regards the opportunities that are going to enable a buyer to take this business to the next level. So ask yourself, where are the opportunities in your business that are going to enable a buyer to take it to the next level and get them all fired up about doing so? So action steps, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like you to come up with 5 reasons why your business is so great. Next, why are you selling your business? Craft the story. Craft a compelling, plausible story as to why you're selling your business. And finally, those 3 juicy 12 to 24 month opportunities for an investor.